All right, so I was all set to put out a brand new video this week about a pedal, and let's just say that I ran into some technical difficulties. While I get that all sorted out, I thought it might be a good idea to do something that people have been a little bit curious about: what's on my pedal board. And there it is. I've been using this for a couple months now with very few changes for a couple projects that I'm involved in, and it's not going to win any Instagram beauty contest. There's nothing all that rare or boutique-y on here, but it's been pretty stable for the last couple months, and I think there's something to be said for that all by itself. So let's save this side for later. First thing that probably jumps out to you is this big bright orange Phase 100 right down here. I did a video about this guy not too long ago. It is my favorite phaser, and there's nothing quite as thick and delicious, at least in the pedal world, as the MXR Phase 100. Yeah. All right. And then right next to it, we've got the Supro Tremolo. It does amplitude as well as harmonic tremolo. It's really useful for adding a little bit of movement to the music I'm playing without adding any tonal coloring. This gets a lot more use than I would have initially imagined. There is a third modulation pedal on here, and if you saw my video on it, then this is probably no surprise at all. I love chorus, and I'm a huge fan of the TC Electronic SCF. I use it for the beginning of songs. I'll use it for the breakdown in the middle of a song, or just for background noodling. I think it's a great sounding chorus pedal. I jokingly call that pedal the third eye blind verse pedal, though I suppose there's a grain of truth in every joke. On to the delay. I went through maybe 8 or 10 different delay pedals here to try to find the right one. I definitely have delay pedals that sound better. I have delay pedals with more features. I have delay pedals that are more fun and interesting, but once I put the Wampler Faux tape echo on my board, it just felt like a perfect match. It was exactly what I needed. I have not felt like I needed to change it ever since. Real simple controls, great sound, and I haven't done a feature video on this yet, but maybe I should. Now, for drive, there's a JHS Double Barrel down here. We'll talk about this one in a little bit. I get most of my overdrive tones from my amp. I use a Rivera 5512. It's a 2-channel, all-tube, 55-watt EL34 combo. I also have a Rivera Chubster. It's kind of similar to that, but it's a little bit punchier, and it's 40 watts, but I have them both set up basically the same way. There's a green channel, which is kind of a Fendery style, and I use that with the boost on all the time to give it this nice natural breakup that I can control with my guitar's volume knob or my playing dynamics. And then on the amp's red side, which is more of a Marshall Mesa kind of thing, that gets a little more crunchier, and I can push that even further with the boost feature for the really heavy stuff. So those are my three main go-to modes right there. I have the boosted Fender side, and then I use both modes of the Marshall side, regular and boosted. And that gives me a pretty good starting point. But then I use the JHS Double Barrel here. I use the blue side, the left side, the Morning Glory side, to add a little bit of harmonic content, a little bit of sparkle just to make things ring a little bit more. And then the other side is a Tube Screamer type circuit, and I use that to push the mids a little bit for leads. All right, the other pedal on here that you're probably really curious about is the Digitech Drop. I love this pedal. A lot of popular rock songs are tuned down a half step. You can really help out the singer by coming down a half step, maybe sometimes a full step. And rather than retuning or switching guitars, I can just hit the switch right there, and I'm ready to go. And this actually works way better than you might think. The only weird thing about it is that the strings of your guitar are vibrating at this frequency, and the guitar's body is resonating at this frequency, and you're hearing that frequency coming out of it, but what's coming out of the amp is down here. It's a little bit weird, and it also means that you won't get amp feedback since this isn't the frequency that this is resonating at. Science. The wah over here, I don't normally throw a wah on my board, but we took on a couple songs that really call for it, and I tried to fake it with an auto wah, but it came across more funk than rock, which in this case just didn't work out. So this is a pedal that I bought maybe like 15, 20 years ago. It's got a bunch of features that I really like. It's got a boost over here that you can just kick in on the side. It's also got lights on the back, which make it a little easier to see if you accidentally didn't click it off all the way after a solo. Also, it sounds good. I'm guessing you probably don't care about my tuner, but I still rock a pedal tuner. I think this is just the way to go. I use a clip-on tuner here at my desk, but for gigging, I still go with the pedal. I really like this one. This is a Korg Pitchblack Plus. I like the big, bright display. I also like that it's got two inputs on the back here. So if I do bring two guitars, I can leave them both plugged in and then just hit this button over here to A/B between them. I don't need to swap cables. Really handy. So if you're following along at home, my signal chain is that the guitar goes into the tuner first. then into the drop, then into the wah, then into the tremolo, the phaser, the double barrel, then the chorus, and then the delay, and then into my amp. I run all these out front, not in the effects loop. I know I'm doing it wrong, and I don't care. The board itself is a Pedal Train Classic 1, but I put a fat tire sticker over it because why not? The power supply is a Truetone, there it is, a Truetone OneSpot Pro CS7. There are 8 pedals on here, but I'm running the output of the tuner over to the chorus, but everything's got plenty of juice. There's no real power hogs on here. One more thing I want to point out is that my pedals are secured on here with dual lock, not Velcro. I like that with dual lock, I can get away with using small little strips instead of covering the entire back of the pedal. It's also a lot more secure, and it's a solid locking connection, and things tend to move around a lot less when I'm shuffling my board between practices and gigs and all that kind of stuff. Now, I know that some people are going to look at this board and say, it's lame, it's boring, there's better delays, they're not even lined up correctly, my cables don't match, I don't have a color scheme. Look, my goal with this board is to be prepared but not overwhelmed. I've done the massive pedal board thing before. I love exploring complex pedals. But when I'm playing a song, when I'm in the moment, I want direct routes between the sounds that I have in mind, even if that means limiting my options. And part of that is a me thing. A big part of it is a me thing. I want to cut down on option paralysis and the urge to continually adjust and tinker. That monster size pedal board thing it was fun, but it's not called for in any of my projects right now. If I were gigging every week and like really going for it, I'd probably bring in some sort of loop switching and MIDI automation with like a Boss MS3 or something like that. And if I were doing like a shoegaze type of thing, it would probably be a completely different story. I'd probably have a pedal board that takes up the entire trunk of my car. That could be fun. In fact, I actually picked up a pedal over here that I think would be a great start for a shoegaze type of board. Make a note of that for a future video, maybe. Anyway, I'm curious to hear what you think. I'm curious to hear what you'd swap out here and how your board is coming along, really. Hopefully, I'll be able to finish that first video that I was working on really soon, fingers crossed. But either way, come back here. I'll catch you on the next one.